Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the new Kansept Entity. You can see that this one here is sporting some pretty nice looking Damascus, but the standard version of this knife utilizes CPM S35EN. And curiously, there is almost no difference in the price whether you go Damascus or S35EN. On top of that, the price is really good. This is a premium titanium frame lock, so I will invite you guys to check it out. There is a link right down in the description. This knife is absolutely available right now in multiple forms. It does help my channel when you use my links, but that is entirely up to you. Thanks so much to Kansept for providing this knife for review. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this knife. It is definitely what I would consider to be a full-size knife. We have 8 inches overall with about a 3.5-inch blade. So that's really nice. This is about the size that I enjoy carrying the most. Up against the, we'll do some size comparisons, sorry. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and Model 2, you can see here it's close to the size of the Rat 1 with a taller, not longer, but taller blade. How about up against the Demco AD 20.5? Definitely a little longer than that guy. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3? Sorry, that's not in frame. I will fix that here in a second. There we go. Close to the size of the Spyderco PM2, definitely longer than the Para 3. And last but not least, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Benchmade Bug Out. It is almost exactly the, in fact, it is exactly the same length as the Ritter Hogue. It's just got a little bit more presence. How about the action? It's real nice. Actually, the blade is heavy enough. I mean, the internals are nice and smooth. It runs on bearings, but it's almost dropping shut, brand new, right out of the box. The flipping action is great. I mean, this is doing everything that every modern titanium frame lock flipper running on bearings should be doing. It should have a, sizable enough flipper tab for the weight and mass of the blade. It should have a strong enough detent so that when you pull on that flipper tab and it breaks away, you're getting the full force of it. It doesn't feel like any of that energy is lost. It flips effectively, efficiently, and has an authoritative snap to it. So that's what we're looking for there. No double clutch and easy access to that lock bar. Check, check, check. Everything's great. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see here that this guy is about the same. Some nice contoured titanium. We'll talk more about that. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This guy closed is about the same length, just a hair shorter than the PM2. Maximum height this way though, there is, quite a bit of height, including the flipper tab to this. It might feel a bit wide in the pocket. It just depends on what you've been carrying. Very close to the maximum hump height of the Spyderco Para 3 and PM2. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. I believe the pivot is at least a T8. It is exactly a T8. And then unfortunately the body screws are still T6. I wish Kansept would improve and go up to T8, but yeah, you can't always get what you want. It is minimal hardware there, so it shouldn't be difficult to take apart considering it is a classic sandwich or pillar construction frame lock. I'm looking for my flashlight, which is buried underneath everything today. Is it gone completely? What happened? I guess today we're going to be using a special flashlight because I have no idea where my flashlight is. So here's the custom Reaver Arms Citadel. Massively overkill for today's review. Check out Reaver Arms. They make really awesome stuff if you like custom flashlights. Internal milling, there is none unless you count this little hole pattern right here, which technically there's a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and weigh it. We are looking at, like I said, in this case, Damascus of truthfully mystery composition. A lot of times we see a 10CR, 9CR, composition, right? Combination. But I honestly don't know what it is. It's a nice pattern, some subtle reflectivity. If you really like Damascus, then there you go. It's likely that whatever it is actually meant to be performance steel and not just, wow, it's pretty, right? That kind of stuff is what you see on eBay for like 25 bucks. It could be anything. But truthfully, I don't know what this is. The standard version of the knife, which again is almost the same price, is S35EN, which is absolutely a performance deal. Anyways, the weight on this guy is about an expected 5.11 ounces. We don't have perfect ratios on this. The balance, though, is honestly right there in the primary position for your index finger, so it feels pretty good. If you're used to carrying larger knives, this won't be a problem. For many people, it will simply be too heavy. Let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness, which does not require that the knife is out. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm gonna guess 140. Let's see. Oh, 135. Okay, that's par for the course. Pretty standard blade stock thickness for a full-size knife, so that's fine. Is there anything else we need to do? I don't think so. Let's go ahead and move into the meat and potatoes here. This is a good-looking knife. Normally, I'm not a big fan of holes, but they did two little diamond... Okay, so this is a weird thought. For some reason, I actually kind of think this is neat, the little holes, and they polished the bevels, so it's just a little decorative thing, right? I feel like they should have done 3. I feel like it would have completed, like, they were like 1, 2, and then blank, right? 3. Why didn't you do another one down here? It's okay. It still looks good like this. Nothing on the other side. This would otherwise be an extremely plain knife. These holes are not hurting anything. You're not gaining any benefit outside of the visual aesthetic. And if you don't like holes, then it looks bad to you. I actually kind of like it. I think it looks cool. And just the plain, we have way too many plain, it is titanium. Look at the titanium. It is polished, or it is stonewashed, or it is blackwashed, or what. Do something with it, right? I'm glad that they did that. I appreciate it. Ergonomically, it's really comfortable. Pretty straightforward. You have some jimping right here, and you've got a nice little thumb notch right there. Feels pretty good. The pocket clip is all right. I can feel it a little bit. It's a very simple, honestly, I think it is steel. They were keeping the cost down on this one. A lot of you have probably already gone to that link, and if you haven't, I would invite you to so you can see. But they were saving a little bit of money here with the pocket clip, and the pocket clip is okay. I still would have preferred and would have been much more blown away had they done a full 3D milled clip that went along with the design. But you know what? As far as pocket clips go, this one's all right. The depth, the bill at the end is not too crazy, and the total length is not too bad. If you are squeezing this with bare hands, you're going to feel a little bit, but it's nowhere near as offensive as the most offensive clip that I've ever felt. Edges are all nicely chamfered all the way around. There's a nice little pivot collar here. I kind of appreciate that. The look of it is just kind of like this smoky, this particular one kind of looks a little bit vintage, but then again, it's got some modern elements to it. And outside of that, it's a really nice sort of kind of generic knife profile, knife shape, but we have this little notch up here. It's just good looking, right? Just in a safe way, it's very good looking. The flipper tab is one that will allow you to both push button and light switch, which is how it should be. I like that. It is definitely a prominent flipper tab, but it allows you to get that satisfying flip and that satisfying click or thwack on the full deployment, right? The blade is kind of a harpoon drop point. I don't know how you want to classify this. We have a flat that carries out about 80% or so, 75 to 80% the length of the blade. A nice size swedge and a nice puncture tip out here. It does taper down to a reasonably thin edge, and it will absolutely slice and cut. It's no Opinel, but it'll do the trick. I really like the pattern on this. It's not an ultra reflective Damascus. It definitely looks better than some of the budget especially some of the junker Damascus you're going to find on Amazon or eBay. It also looks quite a bit better than that really flat, chalky Damascus that Civivi uses on their knives. And by the way, that they charge an extra $30 or $40 for. I have no idea why they do that. As far as the performance of this stuff goes, I don't know, but the pattern on it looks good. It looks to be, it's almost like a pattern that you would expect to see on high quality Damasteel. It just does not have that super near mirror polish to it. If I had to take a guess, I would guess that it probably performs a lot like the other, 9CR and 10CR combination Damascus blades that we've seen out there quite a bit from some of these premium Chinese companies, and it performs pretty well, right? It's going to perform a lot like 9CR18 MOV, but it's fine, right? If you're going for the Damascus look, then you can enjoy how it looks, and you can definitely use it and resharpen it, and it's far from just decorative. But personally, if you want to know what I think, you're going to get the most out of this knife if you buy it in S35VN. S35VN is going to perform better all the way around. So that's what I would recommend. It might be a little bit tougher to sharpen, but the edge is going to last quite a bit longer. Anyways, we have the Kansept logo up here, and on the other side we have the designer's name. And to be honest with you, I'm not familiar with the designer. Sorry about that, but this design does look super duper nice. We have a little bit of a sharpening choil here, which I know most people are going to appreciate, so that's great. The blade, everything fit and finish all the way around is typical Kansept, meaning it's executed basically flawlessly. There's nothing, no weird gaps. There's no wonkiness in the final cutting bevels. The blade looks totally even. There's no unnecessary roughness or scratchiness on any of the edges or corners of the knife. Everything is just machined really, really well. Kansept is definitely one of those companies right now that is putting out a lot of quality for a reasonable price tag. They're not the best of the premium Chinese companies when it comes to pricing. There are some other companies like Kunwu that are still beating them. Sometimes Kubi, right? Tucson is hit or miss. Some of the, but they're really, really good. If you're looking for, something like this and you want to compare pricing, right? If you're looking for exactly this, it's going to be kind of tough to find something exactly like this for less money. So they definitely do offer an incredible amount of quality and execution dollar for dollar, especially considering they are using, when it says S35EN, there's not a Chinese S35EN. It is Crucible CPM S35EN, which means they get it from the United States. It's the same S35EN that you are seeing on your favorite premium American knives, right? So that's really nice. I appreciate that. Moving on here, we have a very simple backspacer. Not much going on there, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be overly complicated. I really wish that they had milled a slot for this clip. I mean, here's the thing. They didn't even bother to put a mounting position for left-handed people. Sorry, lefties. They also didn't bother to put a lanyard hole, which I'm actually on board with. Thank you for doing that. Lanyard holes are stupid. I'm just kidding, lanyard people. It's okay to like lanyard holes, but on this one, there's no lanyard hole, and that's really nice for me. The pocket clip should have absolutely been recessed into the titanium. The clip honestly looks like an afterthought. It is a safe, generic, and functional clip, and it will absolutely function, but it definitely looks like an afterthought on this knife, and they should have at least recessed it. It would have been nice. Recess the clip, recess the screws, and I'd have been like, all right, at least they optimized it, right? But they didn't do that. The rest of the clip, like I said, it's okay. Perhaps it could have been a little bit shorter. Nice rounded sort of spoon bill here, and there's a nice rise that's not too aggressive. It will usually slide over most pocket seam thicknesses, so it's a one-hand in and out situation. You're not having to awkwardly pinch the pocket seam or anything like that. There's enough space to keep your fingers off of the lock bar. This is an exposed frame lock, but there's enough space to easily keep your fingers off the lock bar while you're flipping it. Even if you do have your fingers on it, I gotta admit, it's pretty readily flipping. I'll put my thumb on it. Yeah, it doesn't seem to care. A lot of these newer designs, whatever they're doing on the inside, that surface is just really smooth that the detent ball rides on. And even if you are pushing down on that lock bar a little bit, it's still gonna flip, so that's really nice. We do have a lock bar insert, a steel lock bar insert that doubles as the over travel stop. You can see the little tab in there, so that's nice. We have a traditionally placed stop pin, and no shouldering, but it doesn't need it. No blade play, up, down, left, or right, no lock stick, no double clutch, no pivot lash, right? Nice and smooth and consistent in here. I'm certain just because of how big the blade is, it will absolutely achieve full fall shut fall shut action over time. And then the detent, I'll let you guys take a look here. Nice and clicky and actually just perfect for this knife. Click. And the centering is slightly off, but I think it's from me flipping it. Should we go ahead and see if I can correct it? Let's go ahead and try. A lot of times it's me during the review. They shouldn't come off centered, Metal Complex. Most blades, in fact, all knives given enough time will absolutely come off center. Are we back to centered? Yeah, I'm going to call that centered. All pocket knife blades will come off center over time given enough time. A little bit of Loctite and tools, and you should be okay. I prefer that knives do not come heavily Loctited after I buy them so that I can adjust them to my preferences. If it is extremely heavily Loctited and then the blade is off center, well, then it just is an extra chore for you. So I don't want to judge it too much there. This is a good knife. They're not reinventing the wheel. It's definitely nothing we've never seen before, but it's good. It's functional. It's good looking. It's got a good blade. It's comfortable to hold in the pocket clip. While it's an afterthought, it's functional. You know, I really appreciate that this is contoured titanium as well. Really wish that they had done that they had made room for 3 patterns here. I feel like it would have just looked more complete. But, you know, okay. And it would have been nice to have something over here as well. In any case, this knife, whether you go with the Damascus version or the S35VN version, is somewhere between $183 and $187, which honestly is a pretty good price tag. I love S35VN, and I think it works better with knives like this. Oftentimes, companies are heat treating S35VN better than they are heat treating 20CV and M390, which people just blindly want, regardless of whether the steel will actually work better for them. Truthfully, day to day for me, S35VN, while it is still stainless and holds a pretty good edge, is tougher definitely than CPM 20CV and way easier to sharpen. For these reasons, I kind of prefer it. A lot of people feel like, oh, why didn't they do 20CV? It's more premium, right? We can get CPM 20 CV blades for under $100 in some cases in the knife world right now, and the same is true for S35VN. So there's not really a one is more premium than the other thing. I think we've kind of, I used to think that way too, but we've kind of made that up in our heads. I like S35VN. I don't have a problem with it. And if it helped them keep the price down for some reason, then hey, great. $183 to $187 for this is really fair considering the direct competition, which is like a lot of other premium Chinese companies right now. There are certainly knives using the same materials and similar execution and quality for a little bit less, but not by much. This is pretty good. It's very basic. It's very straightforward. It's nothing I haven't seen before. But it's still a recommendable knife. I like it. And I think it's right around the right size to recommend it to the general person looking for something like this. So yeah, it's going to go on my recommended knives playlist. It's nice. I haven't put a Kansept in there for a little bit. So make sure you check out the recommended knives playlist if you're looking to see what else I have enjoyed over my 2,800 upload journey through the knife world. Anyways, this was a fun one. Really cool. Thanks so much to Kansept again for sending this in for review. Again, links down below for this guy if you want to check it out. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.